Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessToTrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing well. Guys, take a moment out, support the channel, click that like button, and I will take care of the rest. So hopefully everybody's doing well. A lot of developments. Tonight was the 8 p.m., the recent 8 p.m. Ceasefire that was supposed to be expired for the ceasefire talks. And Trump came out after the close, basically said there is going to be an extension indefinitely, which is good, which is obviously a diplomacy tactic that hopefully both sides can come to an agreement and finally, kind of just get some peace, right? I think get some peace. That's the best thing in the world. So this was kind of a big deal and another indefinite talk so we can be hand in hand singing Kumbaya. From the trading aspect, right? Keep this in mind, folks. We are up the last 13 out of 15 days. If you guys remember going back to the weekend update, this was kind of unprecedented. The last time the Qs are up this much, this aggressively, you have to go back all the way to 1982. Again, I was 8 years old when this happened. So this is, again, it's kind of a big deal. That usually in trading, if a stock breaks out, after like day 3, like nobody's going to buy at day 4 because it's like super stretched out. Now imagine an index breaks out 15 days ago, right? And people are still pounding and still pounding and still pounding it. It's really, really extreme. Now here is kind of where we, take off the rose-colored glasses, right? Take off the rose-colored glasses and look at things from a common sense point of view. Again, we are in astronomical levels, too far, too fast. Absolutely. There's still value to the long side. I've been saying this pretty much every single day. I have no interest about the extended stocks, but I still participate on the stocks that are coming out of the bottom channels. If you guys follow me, especially on X, Twitter, for the last couple of days, I've been talking about the software names. Today, it was the software terms, right? They came out of their bottom channels. CRM today, beautiful move, right? Beautiful move, got back above the 50-day moving average. This was all at the open. This was literally at the open. CRM gave us a pretty big move. ZS that I took, the same thing. It was the same thing. All these software stocks started really pumping at the open. Again, that's where the value is, from the bottom to the intermediate channel. So if you look, for example, of stocks, and by the way, keep this in mind, it's getting harder and harder to find stocks coming off the bottom. I mean, it's very hard because a majority of the stocks already are in orbit. But the most important part, and this is kind of where I reiterate the point, leave the overextended stocks alone. Just the same way, if you guys remember, there was a seller strike at the bottom of the range after like literally 4 months of selling. Eventually, buyers they get tired as well. And if you look at the QQQs, the common denominator here is in the last couple of days that we actually closed lower than the open, right? This is from the previous 13 days that we went straight up with parabolic euphoric levels. Does that mean that we automatically are going to backtest? It doesn't mean that we're automatically going to backtest, but at least now you have to be conscious. If you look at the last couple of days, I'm even going to give you the prices, guys. Okay, I'm literally going to give you the prices. If you look at the last couple of days, you see this orange line? This orange line represents the 5-day moving average, right? The 5-day moving average, if you're joining me for the very first time or just kind of been following this broadcast for almost 17 years, you kind of know that the 5-day moving average represents short-term value, right? Whoever has control of the 5-day has control of short-term sentiment. So the Qs of the last couple of days have held 642, right? They held 642 for the last couple of days. That is now the line in the sand. You don't have to guess. You don't have to anticipate. You don't have to have an argument with complete strangers on social media when you think the market's going to come in. Eventually, the gravity trade will kick in. And if the sellers are kind of wake up and the buyers get tired and the Qs lose the 642 level, we're gonna come in. That's the whole point. The same way we knew once the Qs reclaim back the 50-day moving average, they should run. That's the whole point of technical analysis. Levels are levels are levels. And when you reclaim a big level, yes, the stock is supposed to price appreciate. When you lose a level, whether it's a short-term or intermediate level, well, the prices should be coming down. So you have 642, right? 642 is our line in the sand over the next couple of days. And you can see you have some names that are starting to get, tired, man, right? Meta, again, a name I've been saying for the last couple of days, just leave alone, leave alone, leave alone. It's getting tired. I'm going to watch this thing in the next couple of days. If the Qs start losing 642, I want to watch it, right? It could give us a trade, nice trade to the downside. Google as well, right? Look at Google. Google did exactly the same thing. It lost its 5-day moving average. It's starting to go lower, right? Coinbase did exactly the same thing. Had a big run today, lost the 5-day moving average, and it's going to go lower. So the value, right? I'm not saying that the market is a top. Again, guys, that's the wrong word. You're tuning into the wrong channel for that. I go on day-by-day basis, right? That's the whole point. I'm taking the data that I'm getting for today, and I'm trying to apply it for tomorrow. If the Qs don't lose 642, we have nothing to talk about to the downside. But again, at least we are prepared. At least we're having a conversation. At least we are awake that a gravity potential could strike. And if it does, that 642 is the line in the sand, and everything else that's attached to the NASDAQ 100 should be, should go down with it. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. So kind of going back to the how hard is it to find value, right? When you go up 13 out of 15 days, a lot of stocks are in orbit. Again, the software names had a really good move today, right? And now the question is, what can we find? What can we look at as if in case the market doesn't die, right? The market doesn't die and the market continues to go higher. What can we find off the bottom levels that hasn't had a really big run or hasn't really reclaimed some levels? So I got some ideas, right? I got some ideas here. Look at PLTR, right? Look at PLTR here. Again, it's not a great looking chart. It's really not. It had a big run as well. But for the last 3 days or so, it's at least going sideways. Does it mean sideways is going to go up or it means sideways is going to go down? We shall see. But again, I'm having a hard time finding value setups to the upside, at least even for multiple dollar trades. So beggars can't be choosers. I want to watch this thing. It got rejected today. It got rejected today on the 65 EMA, right? You can see it. You can see how quickly it got rejected off the 65 EMA. If it could reclaim back that 65 EMA, listen, there's a shot it could get to 153, 155. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this thing. Look at Pan W, right? Pan W looks interesting, right? Pan W looks interesting. Again, shitty chart, excuse my French, right? It's still beneath supply. But if it can get back above the April highs, maybe this thing wakes up as well. So you're looking at, you're looking at some names that maybe you traded in the past, maybe you haven't traded in the past, but it's starting to get really tough. So if it starts getting really tough to find long setups, and we have already a definitive level to the downside off the 5-day moving average on the QQQs, maybe your level of aggression to the upside maybe should be curbed a little bit, right? And today was the first time that all morning, and spilling in the afternoon, we saw a lot of put buying come in, guys. A lot of put buying in the IWM, in the QQQs, in the SPYs. Were they betting in anticipation that the ceasefire was going to kind of like, go away, and we're back to, fighting each other and killing each other? Very possible. But when you see, again, when you're taking in the data, finding less names to look attractive, a definitive line in the sand after a 13 aggressive move up, and put buyers rolling in, I have to at least engage the idea that if the Qs lose the 5-day, that's going to be our value. Because guys, keep this in mind. The QQQs just rallied in the last 15 days from 555 to 650. It's 100 points. Folks, it's 95 points. You're telling me, right? You're telling me with full certainty there's no possible way the market can backtest? None at all, right? Keep an eye on that 642 level on the Qs. And if they do lose that level, the stock market could get hit. I also like Robinhood to the downside as well. I like Meta to the downside in case the Qs, Robinhood had a big run, mostly because of the pattern day trading rule kind of going away. I believe that the date for that is going to be June the 4th, I believe. So I want to keep an eye on Robinhood as well. First close below the 5-day moving average as well. So we're kind of set up here. Obviously, the big name for tomorrow is going to be Tesla. They report after the close. Again, massive run. Tesla has gone from 337 all the way up to 409. It gave us plenty of opportunities for really exaggerated trades. Notable, right? And again, it's not going to translate obviously into earnings, but Tesla today closed not only below the 5-day moving average, it lost its 50-day moving average on the close as well. Obviously, tomorrow night, when it comes out earnings, they could have a great quarter and the stock will go 50 points. Who the hell knows? So it's really technical analysis going into tomorrow's quarter is really not that important. It's obviously the numbers, but wouldn't it be nice if Tesla actually had a good quarter? I don't remember the last time Tesla actually had a good quarter, but it would be actually nice if Tesla could actually beat it numbers and go crazy. I'm just saying, if it doesn't, well, we'll be having, I'm pretty sure if it doesn't have a good quarter and the market starts killing it, I'm pretty sure at some point we'll be having a conversation at the April lows. But hopefully, cross our fingers. Again, I'm a fan of Tesla. I'm a fan of Elon Musk. But you know what I'm a big fan of? Price action. And depending which way the market confirms, depending how the market reacts to the earnings, I will have no problem trading both sides of the equation. So we are set up for tomorrow. The line in the sand and the cues. We got some ideas to the upside, but I am watching that line in the sand because if we do break, the price action will start to backtest. Guys, have a great night, everybody. God bless. Hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you on the field tomorrow.